Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Back for another live stream today. Virtual coffee with me, Francois. And I hope I'm finding you well this morning. How are you doing this morning? Tomorrow or tonight, 1 minute before midnight is the time when in South Africa we go into a 21-day lockdown. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Are you ready for this? Are you prepared? Have you thought a little bit about what you're going to do during this time? Is everybody in your family okay? Just what's happening and what are you thinking? How are you feeling? I hope you're doing okay. Me and my family, we're okay. I'm actually, in a weird sense of way, looking forward to these 21 days. We've actually set out a plan of just certain things that we want to do every day for the 21 days. And, I don't know, it feels to me like we are in a place or in a position where we can finally give attention or do those things that we've been saying that we'll do, I don't know. And this isn't like obviously work around the house just necessarily and fix this and fix that. And, it's just, spending some time on our own well-being, particularly when we spoke the other day with Johan Westhuizen about well-being as well. It's something that's now sort of in my mind, and it's actually my wife who's driving that quite hard. So she wants us to do a couple of things, and I'm quite happy to do that during this time. I said yesterday in the live stream that I had with Renata that, I feel like, I don't know, it's there's lots that I want to do. There's lots that's happening at the moment. There's lots to worry about, and it's okay. I think if you want to panic, then panic. I certainly panicked a couple of times already, but it's important, that once you start panicking, that you make yourself aware that whoa, I'm panicking. Let me just panic and get it over with. Step back, and then let's think about what we can do. The only thing we have control over at this point in time is what we actually can do, and there's nothing else that we really can control. Yesterday, so there was this confusion yesterday around, are you now allowed to go outside and walk your dog and those kind of things? And I even told a friend of mine, yes, no, because it was on here and we saw it there and it was credible sources. And then last night, it was confirmed that, no, you're not allowed to walk your dog. And I received a video from someone where this guy comes walking out his house, and as he comes out, there's these police sirens, and then he just turns around and goes back. And I couldn't help but start laughing for that, because I think that's going to be our life in South Africa for the next 21 days, and I know it's hard. I'm laughing now, and it's definitely not a funny matter, but it's definitely important that we try and keep our mindset positive. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I can't control that, so I try and do the things. So we've got this plan anyway. So let me not get stuck on that point. We've got this plan of things that we want to do every day. So a little bit for our health, staying a little bit active here in the yard, around the house, and so forth. There's certain sort of courses and things that we want to finish. There's certain things that we want to learn together. So those are the things that we've planned over and above everything that I want to do for my business in the next 21 days. I think it's an opportune time to be able to work on the things in my business and work on my business. I mean, what else are you going to do, if you've got a business? And the one thing that I'm sort of concerned about is that there's going to be people that is going to take this as a holiday, as a 3-week bonus holiday. And I think that's going to be a huge mistake if we do it like that. So you got to say, well, let me then rest for a day or two, or for the first 3 days. If you want to sleep. If you just want to hang around, read books, do that kind of thing, just listen to music, just braai, then do that. But also have a plan for the next 18 days then that's left after that, and make the most of it. This is really an opportunity to connect again with people. It's a great time to connect with your family. It's a great time to connect with your friends again. We're talking about a virtual braai. So we'll see if that happens. I'm sure it'll happen. All of us have got good internet connection, so I'm pretty sure that we could braai if we wanted to. So I think we're going to try that and see how that goes. We might even record that or live stream our virtual braai. I think that'll be quite cool. So if you're watching from another country, a braai is just a barbecue. I think in America and so forth they call it a barbecue. It's just where we cook meat over an open fire or over hot coals. And it's really something in South Africa. That's what we do a lot. And so that's the thing. Today, what do we want to talk about? So by the way, please, if you want to comment, if you're on YouTube, you're welcome to post in the chat, the live chat. If you do that, I'm able to pull that comment or that question or whatever up onto the screen. We can share it with others, and I can answer your questions. That is really what this live stream is about. It's about answering your questions, being here for you, whatever you want to talk about, whether it's business or life or family, or if you just want to say how you're feeling, that's cool. Let it out. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for you. So please make use of this opportunity. If you're on LinkedIn, then you're welcome to post down in the comments. I've got my phone open, so I will be able to see if there's any comments coming through from people on LinkedIn, so that I'm able to respond as well. Those comments I can unfortunately not pull up on the screen, but please, you're very welcome to do that. The other positive thing is that this live stream is also recorded. So it will be available on LinkedIn afterwards, immediately actually, and then also on YouTube on our channel there. It'll also be available. So welcome to my home and my little studio and my life. I think it's great. We can get to know one another a lot better. And that's really why I'm doing this. It's giving me something to get up for in the morning. It's the first thing I do. Well, now the first thing I do is doing 20 sit-ups. And so this morning was the first 20, so I'll see how I feel a little bit later. But the plan is to do some sit-ups early in the morning and then some sit-ups at lunch. And then in the afternoon, we were planning to walk the dogs. Now we can't do that. So we are going to do some other things here at home. We've got a bicycle that's on a what you call it, like one of those training things that it makes it stationary. And then we also got to do some weights just a little bit. So we just want to spend a little bit of time just getting moving, and it's funny. It's something that we could always do. There's just no excuse, but it feels like, well, what else are we going to do now? So let's do that. So maybe, and my wife actually mentioned something where she said, isn't it interesting that it's 21 days, the same amount of time that a lot of people say it takes to change a habit? It's maybe a very good time. Anyway, so what do I want to talk about today? I'm already 8 minutes into this live stream. Just once again, thank you very much for watching, whether it's live or whether it is for the what you call it, for the on the live stream or the recording itself. And I'm very appreciative of that. And I also take note of your time that you're spending with me. Anyway, so today I want to talk about learning and the sources that I use, because learning is one of my highest values. So if I say one of my highest values, what am I talking about? I'm talking about that it's very important to me. So it is one of the things that I prioritize in my life. It is one of those things that I do on a daily basis. Now, you may think that, yes, Francois, but your business is learning and developing people and that kind of stuff. But that's not the reason. That is not the reason why learning, it has always been. And if I go back to school, I actually hated school. I think there was a couple of subjects that I really loved. It was anything to do with computers. And then I also loved math, and I loved science, and I loved accounting. So those were the only subjects I loved. Afrikaans, English, what else was there? Afrikaans, English, biology, sorry, Juffrou Ina. But biology, I hated it. It was the subject I did the worst in because I just didn't study. It was so boring to me, but I didn't have a choice. I had to choose between that and woodworking. And if you saw my woodworking skills, you would also take biology. So those are the things that, I never then liked learning. But it's funny when you start spending time on things that you really like. And for me, it was a long time that I tried to get to, but what is it that I really like? And eventually, as time goes on, I know I've always been in love with technology. I actually went to study programming. I spoke about that the other day, just for about 6 months, because they taught me everything but programming. So I was very impatient when I was younger. And I then just thought, no, this is not for me. This is not what I signed up for. So I went into the workforce and started working at Standard Bank. And that's how my whole life started. But there were certain things that, when you spend time on it, it's just like time flies by. You just love it. And those are the kind of things that you want to learn about. So over time, I've learned that the things that I'm really, really keen on learning is about business. I love learning about business. About 2 years ago, I changed my entire view around sales, because when you grow up, I literally grew up in financial services. So in financial services, sales become like it's not a good word. It gets associated with the wrong things for the wrong reasons, but also because of behavior of some people in the industry. But it doesn't matter, because I learned that, selling is really the same as serving if you do it the right way. It's a real positive thing if you do it the right way. And if you come from the right place with the right intention and with the right focus, then sales is the most wonderful thing in the world. And the other thing I realized, I learned this from Daniel Pink, or Dan Pink. You can look him up. It's not something that I know personally. He wrote a number of books on selling, but also he says to sell is human. That's the book that I read. And it's really this point about, whatever you do in life, you are selling. You're either trying to convince someone to go with you to the movies, you're convincing someone to come over and spend some time with you. You try and convince somebody to lower their price. You try and get leave when the boss doesn't want to give you leave. All of those things, whatever you're negotiating with your spouse, listen, I don't want to be working in the garden this morning. I would rather be watching the rugby. All of those things, that's negotiating, that's selling. It's nothing else. But, for some reason, we think that selling is a real bad thing. And I changed my whole mindset about that, actually a bit more than about 2.5 years ago. And I started learning about selling, because I was also telling myself all the time that I'm not good at sales. I suck at sales. I don't like sales. And that's not true. I love a sale. I've come to learn that I love a sale. There's nothing better than somebody saying, yes, let's do it. The thing that I actually didn't like was getting rejected, then, if you will, and people telling me, Francois, you know what, no, I'm not interested, or you're too expensive, or, we're not ready right now. Or even the worst thing, they say yes, and then 3 days later, they say, no, I spoke to my partners. And now. So, that happens. It happens. And those things I didn't like. And I was trying to avoid that, because I don't like conflict. So conflict is not one of my strong suits. Don't really like that. And thanks for the like, whoever that was. Thank you very much on LinkedIn. So, those kind of things is what sort of went on in my mind. And it comes back to, your mindset is so important. So the moment I decided, look, I need to learn everything about selling. I need to know everything about selling. I want to learn everything about selling, and I want to do it the right way. Then when I started learning about it, it was fun. It was interesting. It's sort of, I watched hours and hours and hours of people speaking about selling. I read up on selling. I got books about selling. So I spend a lot of time on that. And then the hardest part comes when you have to implement those things in practice, and you want to try. And one of the biggest mistakes I made is to say, well, because a lot of people are teaching you that there's a framework. You do this, then you do that, then you do that. So it's these steps in the process to lead. And that's what I hate about selling. And all I did was I changed 2 fundamental things when I was selling. And now I'm talking about selling, and I'm not even actually talking now about learning. Well, I'm getting back to the learning in a second, because I want to share all my resources with you that I use for learning on a daily basis. But when I did that, there's 2 things that I changed. The one thing is, I thought, screw the process. I know what I want to get to. The only thing is maybe to realize and to be able to identify which part of the process you are actually in. But there's no fixed set of questions. There's no fixed set of, if you want to have a conversation and connect with someone, in my opinion, then have the conversation, look them in the eye, connect, try and understand. So speak a lot less than the other person. Ask the right questions. I think that's the hard part, is knowing what questions to ask. It's not knowing what question to ask next necessarily, because when you want to know what the next question is, I don't know, then you're so busy in your mind, you're not listening to what the other person is saying. Just be genuine. And then if you don't know what the question is, just say, let me just think about this for a second. And then you can ask them you can replay it to them, and you can say, well, am I understanding what you're saying correctly? This is what you're saying. without it sounding like you're in some a marriage counseling session where I need to repeat that. I hear what you're saying and you repeat it. None of that stuff. It's just having an honest conversation and understanding where they are. And then the second thing that I changed is I always used to say, okay, I'm gonna send you a proposal. So by the way, this is a virtual coffee with Francois, but I hope you've got your coffee too. This morning I've got coffee. All the other days I had rooibos tea. Today I have coffee, proper coffee, brew coffee. So check out Brew Coffee Roasters. They are extremely, it's like the best coffee. They brew blend specifically. I don't know what they do, but it's very good. So cheers. So the second thing I changed was I always said I'm going to send you a proposal, and I did send a very nice proposal. And initially it took me very long to do those proposals because what did I do? I did a unique one for every single person. And then later on, I got to a sort of a template. And then as I did proposals, people gave me feedback and I changed it and changed it until I've got the proposal that I've got today. So it's a lot quicker to do a proposal. But the problem is if you say to somebody, I'm going to get back to you with a proposal, what you're doing is you're resetting the entire process. So it stops right there. By the time you send the proposal, now they need to find time to actually look at it. So how often have you sent proposals to clients? And they say, sorry, I haven't had time yet. I'll have a look at it. Oh, I need to speak to my spouse. I need to speak to my business partner. I'll see when we can. Where you were in the process, in the meeting. So what I'm doing now is I'm giving a price in the meeting. Even if that price is out too high, too low, it doesn't really matter. Because when I do that, I can see the person's reaction immediately. And I can see if something's wrong or if they're uneasy with the price, because there's just no, I don't care how good they are, but they can't hide it. It's like, okay, it's like, this is way less than what I thought it was going to be. And then also there's obviously the people that will always try to negotiate, but that's cool. It's part of life. I think we were brought up that way to always try and negotiate a better price, and that's cool. So that's one of the things that one can deal with. And then maybe in tomorrow's session or so, I'll just maybe make a note. We can talk about how do we handle objections or things like that. And not from a call it our scientific point of view. I would rather just talk about it. Like, what would I do if somebody says, but can you do a better price? What are some of the responses that one could give or ask further questions? Because often it is either they don't understand the value or they don't see the value, or they don't have the money, but they will never tell you that they don't have the money. And I understand that. It's not a problem, but we need to get to a point where can we help and what can we do for what they can afford to pay. But anyway, so now I give the price in the meeting. I don't send them proposals anymore unless they say, yes, we are interested to go ahead. Then I'll send the proposal, because what does it help you doing all the work, maybe 3, 4, 5 or 10 pages of a proposal, put a lot of work into it. You send it to them. They send it off to some of your competitors so that they can look at it and then understand what it is that you offer and maybe come up even with a better price, because that's a negotiation strategy that they may have. Not everybody does that, but some may do that. So even if you do financial planning and there's this habit of ours, I'll send you. So I come and see the client. We do all the work. I do the analysis. We write the recommendations. We write the financial plan, and then we email it to the No, that's okay. Today it's going to be different, but still have that meeting on Zoom or wherever you want to have that meeting. Have that meeting and chat to the client, and then have the opportunity to explain everything. Because the problem is they read that proposal of yours, they see the fees and everything, and they make up their own story or their own mind around it, and then they decide, no, this is too expensive for me. But they misunderstand about how it works, for instance. So by first explaining things to them, you can also then gauge, like I said in the Zoom training we did the other days, that you got to use your camera. Use the camera so that you can see one another, so that you can have a connection and see how people are reacting when you tell them certain things. Because then you can deal with it there. And then unless they are happy to proceed, I won't be sending any proposals really. And if they do want to consider anything, I'll only send them an executive summary, because most clients are not interested in a full analysis. They won't understand it in most cases in any event. So it's rather to send the executive summary so that, with things in a way that they would be able to understand. I'm not saying that clients are not, there may be many clients that will understand, but all I'm saying is usually most clients don't speak the financial language. They talk normal English and Afrikaans and whatever language they're speaking. So those things I think are quite important, and those are things that have made a real difference in my business. So I think it's definitely something that you could change in the way that you do things. Anyway, so that was a whole 20 minutes almost on talking about selling. Means, can you start your day any other way? All right, maybe bacon and eggs. Mama! No, just kidding. Anyway, so yeah, let's have fun. I mean, this is what these sessions I want. It must feel like you're here at my home and just having a chat and a laugh. And, you're more than welcome. I'm glad to have you here. So thank you very much for your time. So let's talk about my learning resources for a little bit. What do I use? And then, as I said, I really started learning about business a lot. I started learning about sales. The other thing that I spend a lot of time learning is social media marketing, and not from the sense of I'm more interested in getting organic reach and doing things that people value and knowing how to structure content and write and create posts and those kind of things. It's not about, when you talk about social media marketing, a lot of people think about paying for ads and targeting audiences, etc. Now, I don't believe in that. There is a place for it. I'm not saying it's bad, it's evil, not at all. But it is also not always necessary, specifically. So what I did a number of years back is when I had my Facebook page, I boosted that page to get more likes. And I thought, I'm targeting exactly who I want to like this page. But I swear there are people on that platform and on any other social media platform that they've got click fever. It's just like. The more things they can like, I don't know if it makes them feel better, but it is not the people I want to reach. So by going the organic route, I make sure that, and I'm even looking at LinkedIn. Sorry, I'm following myself in the reason here. Okay, that's just a joke. So even on LinkedIn now, so I changed my profile so that when you go onto my profile, it says follow. It doesn't say connect. So when you click, you can just follow, and you can follow anybody on LinkedIn by clicking the button. Even if it says connect, I think there's a drop down that you can choose follow rather than connect. But that means that you're not connected. So they can't necessarily see what you're posting, but you can see what they are posting. So I changed it to follow first. And now there's so many people that's following me because of all the things that we're doing online, but it is not necessarily the right audience for who I want. So I'm testing out all these things to see what's really working. For me, it's not about amassing. It doesn't help me having 100,000 followers on LinkedIn, for example, because if they're not the right people, this is the same as advertising in a local newspaper. You never know who's going to pick it up or put your ad in the Huisgenoot or the U, and you never know which toilet that's going to land up in and who's going to look at that. So, I would rather have targeted things, grow more slowly and do the right things, have the right message, know how to communicate, know what it is that I want to communicate, have a strategy, be consistent. So those are all the things that I learned about social media. And then my other big love, as I said before, was to do programming. And on programming, I've learned a lot in terms of websites and that. So, I built all my websites. If you go to it, I've built that myself, designed it myself. And they've evolved over the years, and there's still a lot that I can do better. I'm not getting time to get to changing the landing page or the first page of my Francois du Toit website. That needs some updating and changing, but there's a lot of functionality that we built in with a lot of things that we're doing that I wasn't able to do before. So there's a lot that I've learned. There's a lot of things that we can do in terms of that. Circulus Online that I'll talk about a little bit later is our online CPD platform that I've built, doing that. And it's not always that we build things from scratch. I mean, there's WordPress. We use WordPress primarily. And that gives us the core functionality. And then there's certain functionality that you can add onto that by getting plugins. And we use a lot of paid for plugins. We don't believe in a lot of free stuff. But although there is some very good free things that we use there. So there are those things to expand the technology or the functionality of the website. But there's always customization that's required. And those are the things that I've learned And those are the things that we've implemented on our websites to make it a little bit better and a little bit more unique. So from that point of view, I spend a lot of time learning that. And then also, just from a personal point, there's a lot of things that I do for my personal development. You think about things like mindset, emotional intelligence, learning about my strengths, how to use them, where am I using my strengths in the wrong way? So I spend a lot of time on that. And then obviously the thing that I do is financial planning training. So that's really my game. So in terms of financial planning training, obviously you need to spend a lot of time staying up to date. And I'm lucky that I do a lot of work for Millpark, although this year we're a bit quiet there, but I did a lot of work over the last 2 years for Millpark, so that forced me to remain up to date as well. And I also do a lot of work for the FBI. And, but I have my own workshops, my own online content and everything. So there I need to spend time and understand. So I'm learning a lot. The last year or so, I've been learning a lot about trusts and how that works and the tax and everything on trusts. Tax is my big thing as well. So I spend a lot of time on those things as well. And I think you may be sitting there going like, okay, but when do you get time for all of this? It's not that I spend the whole day learning. It's just I learn a little bit every single day. And I also like to do just-in-time learning. So that means like when I need to know something, I will learn it at that point in time. So it's a lot of things, but I'm not doing everything at once. And it's happening over a long period of time. You can't remember when you crammed for an exam, if you ever had to cram for an exam, time goes like that. You cram, you pass the exam, and then a week later, you can't even remember what you studied because it was too much, too fast. So if you can do it little by little by little by little, every single day, it stays with you. And then when you implement and use that, and I think that is what makes just-in-time learning so phenomenal. And again, I keep on referring to this to Pat Flynn, who's this American guy who's been running a number of online businesses, but he's really a great guy with a lot of interesting information. He was also talking about this yesterday on his show about just-in-time learning. And that is sort of the way where everybody's going. And, you should think about that in your business as well. Like, how do you make it easy for your staff when they need something? There's a resource that they can just, that little bit that they need to know right now. How do they do that? Let me see. I've got a comment here on YouTube. Faithful Terence. Thank you very much, Terence. So Terence is asking, I found discussing my process, the journey, and the investment the client needs to make into it has been successful this year. Terence, I've said this in some previous videos, and I've said it to you personally as well. What you are doing and how you are not afraid to go and try new things when everybody else may be telling you that, Terence, you're crazy. Terence, clients are not going to do this. Terence, you're not going to make it. I want to applaud you, because none of those people are willing to try anything. And there may be some of them that's tried and failed, and now they think it doesn't work. They don't go back and see why they failed necessarily, and they don't try again and again and again. There was some stats that I looked at last year that says in America, everywhere in the world, we've got the same failure rate in terms of businesses. But yes, the difference between the Americans and the South Africans. The Americans will try 4 more times to get that business going, and one of those businesses is going to work. South Africans, we try once and then say, yeah, crap, being in business is not all it seems to be, and we give up. We don't learn from what goes wrong. So I'm very happy that that's been working for you. You go on to say clients are willing to pay for planning and advice if they understand. I think it's that, definitely, if they understand. But I think maybe what it's also is that they can see the value that you offer. And that is fantastic, Terence. I know you've been doing virtual meetings with clients before this thing has become an issue. Last year, there were times where you were giving away free consultations online, a free 20 or 30-minute consultation. I think it was during the financial planning week or something. So you've been doing a lot of, I want to say, innovating things, or things that a lot of people are talking about, but not necessarily doing. So really, really well done. And I don't want to blow your horn too much, but I'm really watching you with interest, and I think people are going to take note of you very soon. Just keep going. Don't give up. And even if you get into the streak where, like, for a month, everybody tells you no, that's okay. Just keep going. If you believe in what you're doing, because that's the thing, if you can sell with confidence, because you're doing nothing else than selling your proposition. You may be not selling a product. I know you always say, I'm not selling you anything, but you're selling them your proposition. You're selling them you're selling them the relationship. So something is being sold. So never stop. Just keep going and be consistent. And then, I say to stand out these days is easy. Just stick to what you say you're going to do, and you will stand out, not like a sore thumb. You will stand out like the go-to person that you deserve to be. Terence also says he's happy to share with others. We are a collective and must help each other. We are not competition, we are partners. Yeah, there's too many clients out there for one person to look after anyway. So definitely. All right, so let me go to, now these things opening on my screen here. Let me just close them. I want to show you some, there we go. So some of my learning resources that I use, because it doesn't help me just talking about it. We need to, I want to share this with you. So let's get into it. So the very first one, if you couldn't guess by now, it is obviously I use a lot of YouTube. And I'm very careful about the channels that I follow, the people that I follow, and there's a variety of different people that I follow for different reasons. So from a business perspective, and there's one thing that I learned, that when you follow these very well-known people that have actually built businesses, they're at a different level. They can give great advice, and but also they have massive teams behind them. You look at the amount of content they put out and you think like, how in the world do they do? But they go there, they do a 10-minute video, they leave, and then there's a whole team doing the editing, making it look nice, making it tell a story, making it look polished. We don't have that. If you're a one-man band, then you don't have that. Even if you're a two-man or a two-woman or a one-man, one-woman, or a advisor and an assistant, or a small business owner and a personal assistant, it doesn't matter. It is hard to do things at the scale that they're doing at. And the problem is we look at those things and we want to do it the same way. And that's where we fall short. So you need to know like which sources are going to be the best for you to use from a learning perspective, and which channels to follow. So there's different channels that I follow for different reasons. So on the business side, there are some very well-known people that I do follow. But you get to a point where you've heard them say everything that they've got to say, and then it's sort of time to move on to someone else, because it is just not necessary to repeat things over and over and over again. But there are some people there that I follow for that. Then there's a number of channels that I follow for WordPress development. That's where I learn all my coding and my challenges, and then also using Google for that. Because a lot of time the written resources are also extremely good. So I use that. Then personal development, obviously there's a few people that I follow. There's nothing that I follow from a financial planning point of view on there, except for Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey is a guy that I follow in terms of just the advice that he's giving to people, normal financial decision-making, financial planning advice. Nothing to do with products. It's what do I do? This happened. What do I do with my money? Or I have this money saved up. Should I do X, Y, or Z? And obviously, there's people that believe in his process, and there's people who don't. I'm one of those that his process makes complete sense to me. So if you want to take control of your day-to-day expenses, your day-to-day income, your day-to-day money, definitely some things to follow. There's some great ideas that you can use from that. And if you're a financial planner, that you can, when you work with a budget for a client, that you can actually implement for them or discuss with them as well. So Dave Ramsey is definitely somebody to check out from that perspective. Then I haven't done a lot on here. I'm not crazy about these learning platforms, the big ones like what have you got? You've got so I'm trying to think now. The word is now escaping me. But you get these huge online platforms where people can create courses and host them and sell them on those. The one that I have used, recently is Udemy, but that was a programming course. So I'm busy going through that. It's really good. It's web development, so it's going through the entire stack of that. So it's HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and then there's also other ones that I've bought where there's one's focusing only on JavaScript and then one's focusing only on PHP. But those are things that I'm doing as and when I get time. So it's not a big focus of mine, but they often have things at a very cheap price, especially if you're going to buy something for the first time. So I've bought Excel courses there before for people that work for me and so forth. So I have done those kind of things because there are great courses available. But look at what you need and what you're interested in, and then just go search for online courses. And you'll get some things from universities, you'll get some things from places like Udemy, etc. But Udemy I've used, but I'm not a big fan, to be honest, with most of it, because you don't have control over the quality necessarily. So you have to go on what people have, how they've reviewed it and what they're saying about it. So I spent a lot of time when I chose those courses about what people said and the ratings they got. And I even went onto Google and Googled that course specifically, because sometimes people say things on other platforms that you won't see there. So from that point of view. Then for financial planning, there's three platforms that I use. The first one is the FPI Center for Professional Development. So I also look at the webinars and things there. So those are the kind of things that I do. So you can go there to fpicpd.co.za. Whether you're a member or not, you can go check that out. So the FPI has got, they get good people to do their courses. I happen to be one of them, so I'm not blowing my own horn. But it's you look at how the criteria, the things that they look for, how they want the stuff, everything. It's really proper and they run it well. So I know some people have said that it's just, where do I find it? It's in your My FPI profile. You can access it from there. Otherwise, you just contact the FPI. They will give you the direct link. But all the information with regards to their CPD will be on fpicpd.co.za. Then the other one that I've started using about a year and a half ago is the tax faculty. And here's the thing, you don't have to be a tax practitioner or a financial planner or anybody to do any of these courses. You're able to buy them, do them, and move on. And you don't even care maybe about the CPD points and those kind of things. For me, learning should never be about CPD. It should be about the skills and what I can do for my clients, and the fact that I can grow my business with that. And then if I get CPD, fantastic. But if there's no CPD, it doesn't really matter. If you think about the Zoom session that we did, I'll put that link on the screen in a second. But if you look at that, we didn't give CPD for that Zoom session. We could have maybe gotten an hour and a half or whatever. But because there's such a need, people are doing it. And they don't care about the CPD because it's something that can really help them stay in business, and it's something that can help them grow their business. And it's something that can change the way they do business fundamentally. So from that point of view, we need to look at all our learning in that way. It's like, what do we need? What do we want? Why do we want it? What is it going to do for me when I have that? And then you go find out, where am I going to get the best value for that? And where am I going to do it? Who's going to help me the best? And then to achieve the goals that I may set for myself. And then if you get CPD, that's a big bonus. So that is how I approach all my learning anyway. Taxfaculty.co.za. You can check it out. It's obviously everything related to tax. So there's a lot of valuable content on there. So go check that out. And then the third one is the SA Accounting Academy. There's also a lot of interesting things there that they talk about. And what I love about them is they also talk about technology, and they also talk about other things. So it's not always, I don't attend the things talking about IFRAS and doing the technical stuff, but there's some interesting things that I've bought the webinars for, or the courses or whatever they've got, and it's really been great. So they've got good speakers, and I really like what they offer, and I get regular emails from them to update me with what's new or what's coming up. So I really like the Accounting Academy as well. There's a lot of interesting information there for financial planners and financial advisors. So here's the thing as well with learning is I try and learn a lot from other industries and other businesses that I can make applicable to my own. And there's certain elements that you can see, wow, that's very interesting. Let me take that and just mold it a little bit more so that it makes sense in my business and for my clients. You'll learn a lot more from those people than you sometimes learn from people in your own business. Again, then the last one is going to be a shameless plug. This is Circulus Online. This is our platform. This is where I host all my online content. So there are full-on courses on every area of financial planning. So I talk about, if I say that, I mean, I talk about retirement planning, personal income tax, capital gains tax, everything aimed at personal financial planning. As I said, estate planning, fundamentals of trusts. There's advanced retirement, there's intermediate retirement planning, and then there's also a investment planning course. But that investment planning program focuses on specific elements of investment planning. So it's not something at the moment that's going to teach you, if you're new to investments, everything that you need to know. We're working on that one. But those are the long form content, and that you can find under programs on the website. And then we've got webinars, which is short, between an hour and an hour and a half. There's one that gives you ethics, that's 2 hours. So that's great, 2 ethics points. But those are under the webinars link on the website. So you can check out all of that. And then you're also able to buy bundles. So it says bundles on the website, and then you can choose one for the long form content or one for the webinars, whichever kind of content you prefer. All right. So that is Circulus Online. It's learn.circulus.co.za. So you can go and check that out. There's more and more webinars being done, and every time we record it, I will also put up the Zoom one that we've had recently. So I will definitely make that available on there, although that video is available on YouTube. So let me give you that link for Zoom. Let me just go there. Subscribe. Let me just see. There we go. So if you want to learn Zoom, oops, I forgot to plug in my computer. I just thought, why did this thing went dark? There we go. All right. So you can also go and do the Zoom session for free. As I said, you're more than welcome to do that. I'm actually encouraging you to go look at that. It's a proper full-on training for free. I don't ask for anything in return. Except that, if you found it valuable, share it with people. Please send it to them. There's some resources that you can download, which includes a full-on PDF guide. So go and have a look. It's just francoisdutoit.co.za/learn Zoom. It'll take you straight to the YouTube video. So you don't have to log in anywhere. You don't have to register anywhere. You don't have to give me your email address or anything. This is something that I really did to help businesses, and any business. It's not only for financial planners. Anybody that wants to use Zoom to communicate, whether it's for staff meetings, client meetings, you'll get a lot of value from that video. So please go and check that out. I don't know. Is there any questions around learning and what it is that you've got? Another resource which I have not put up yet that I can also talk about is podcasts. So this is an ideal time for you to be listening to podcasts. And there's a few podcasts that I want to mention that we are really, that I listen to religiously. In other words, every single week I would listen. Sometimes I would skip a week or two, but then I'll catch up when I have time. Because the beautiful thing about podcasts is that I can listen to them anywhere. I can listen to them, I can stop, I can come back and continue right where I stopped. And it's also downloads. It can, if you want, you can stream it as well, but you can download it directly to your phone and then listen to it offline, even when you don't have an internet connection. When there's load shedding, when I'm driving, when I'm waiting for things, whatever. Sometimes just while I'm busy with other stuff, making food or things like that, I may be listening to a podcast. Sometimes I get in bed and I listen to a podcast, with my earphones on and that. So that is the beautiful thing about podcasts. And I want to encourage you to start listening to podcasts. So I want to share with you just want to put this one, just want to create this for you. All right. So the podcast that I particularly use and listen to and that I recommend strongly is the following. So the first one is, if you are interested in online business and how to do things, but it's also more than that. But a lot of the episodes will be focused on doing things online, etc. So maybe very, very topical in this point in time. But that is Smart Passive Income. So the podcast name is Smart Passive Income. It's Pat Flynn. So go have a look at that podcast. There's a lot to learn. He interviews a lot of great guests that really you learn so much from them. Just by the way they think and the way their models work. And even though a lot of them are based in the US, it doesn't matter. It is things that is coming to South Africa. So if you really want to stay ahead, then obviously the Dave Ramsey show. So they have that on there every single day, about 40 minutes, 40 to 45 minutes. And it's just a recording of all the questions that they've answered live from viewers, because viewers can call in or listeners rather can call in, ask their questions, and he then answers them. And there's always like 4 or 5 questions, sometimes more in an episode. So check out the Dave Ramsey Show. Then the other one is obviously Financial Advisor Success Podcast. Financial Advisor Success Podcast. I will maybe just put a link of all these podcasts down below after the show on LinkedIn and also on the YouTubes. That is by Michael Kitces. A lot of people know Michael. He's got very long interviews, so it's usually 1 hour and 50 minutes to 2 hours an interview. But he also talks to very interesting financial advisors or people working in the financial advice space, consultants and so forth, that will give you, some insights and ideas and all those kind of things. Then one of my new favorite podcasts is Innovating Advice. That's Innovating Advice. It's by a lady called Kate Holmes. She's a fantastic person, and what she's doing is she's interviewing people from around the globe, not just from the US. So I've been a guest on her podcast, but that's not the reason why I'm promoting her podcast. The thing is that I've listened to most of the episodes, because obviously this is like anything else. You get an article, some people are interested in it, some people may not be. So with podcasts, you can choose which episodes you want to listen to. You don't have to listen to all of them. So I look at the name of the specific episode, and then I decide, well, that sounds interesting. I want to listen to that. So Kate is a phenomenal host. She's really got a nice format. Most of her podcasts are about 40, 45 minutes. There's here and there one that goes over that. But she's now on episode 17 or 19 or something already. I'm not 100% sure. I looked last night. 17. She's spoken to people from South Africa. There's been a couple of us on there. Australia, the UK, America, Singapore. So there's really been people from all over the world already, and she just keeps on going and keeps on going. And she's really looking at everything from not just financial planning, but running a business, employing technology. And then also she's got a big focus on women that are, what's the word now, that work in this space. And it's really a fantastic podcast. So it's definitely my new favorite podcast, which I listen to. So Innovating Advice by Kate Holmes. So go check that out. Then also now and then I listen to Between Now and Success. So Between Now and Success, it's Stephen Sandusky. The other day he had Joseph Michelli on. That is an absolute expert in terms of customer experience. And it's also somebody that we're trying to get on our podcast, because I met Joseph when he was here last year. I attended one of his workshops. Fantastic guy. But there's also a few other things, because they also talk about technology in financial planning and those kind of things. So your fintech, FP tech, whatever you want to call it. So there's some of the episodes that I listen to as well. Then also the Matt Brown Show. The Matt Brown Show. Matt is a guy that's in advertising and things, but he also interviews business owners from around the world. So some interesting stories. I don't listen to it that often because I don't have enough time. But then one of my favorite ones was Marnus Broodryk. So Marnus Broodryk, his podcast is called Making SMEs Matter. I learned so freaking much from that. I used to be a member of SME Africa before they stopped it for now. It's really been stopped. They're looking at other alternatives to that. But Making SMEs Matter. If you want to learn about business, you want to hear stories like, Rocco Mamas. How did Brian build that business? You want to listen to, people from all walks of life that's built business. Some well-known people. I really loved Margaret Hirsch's story, for instance, to hear how she grew up, and now at 70, she's still working like a beast. So it's so inspirational, and it's just real entrepreneurs doing real things, building real businesses, sharing their story. One of the most powerful ones, I think, was Ian Furr from Sorbet, although they sold their shares in Sorbet. But, just his whole story of where he started back in the day and the things that he went through and that he experienced, and how they came to build these fantastic businesses, because it teaches us that life is a journey, business is a journey, and we need to enjoy that journey, and we need to take it with its ups and downs. So it's really, really interesting and fantastic. And then, the last one that I want to share with you is then my own podcast called Propulsion. So you may have heard about it, but Propulsion is about, I call it the catalyst for exponential growth for financial professionals. So again, we interview people from, financial planners to people in technology to people consulting and working with them. I talk to people that are that provide different solutions to financial planners. We talk to people that would help you with your development, your strengths, how to develop those and those kind of things. So we've had a whole host of people on the show already. There's 19 episodes. We're releasing about one a month. I'm one behind at the moment because the one I was supposed to do in March got cancelled. But it's been postponed. It's not cancelled. We're doing it now on the 7th of April. So very much looking forward to that. It's a follow-up interview on our most popular episode, which was about expat tax. So even there, we talk some technical stuff, but in general, we talk about running a business and how do you do things, how do you overcome challenges, etc. And just a story. Because I like to speak to people who's not afraid to take chances and try things. At least then the ones that don't want to do that can learn from the podcast and then just go and do the things that they feel comfortable with. But those are my learning resources. So I spend a lot of time with podcasts. I spend a lot of time on YouTube. I think that those are my two primary ones. And then obviously, so one other thing I want to share with you tomorrow or so I'll do is my favorite books. So the books that I use most when I learn and when I give advice to advisors, when I consult and things, and I want to double check myself, which books and resources do I use for the technical side of what I do. And I'll also share that with you tomorrow then. So yeah, I think that is sort of it from my side this morning. So there's still about 9 minutes left. So if you've got any questions or anything that you would like to share or ask, please, you're more than welcome. Let me see if there were any comments or anything on LinkedIn. Doesn't look like it. So yeah, on that note, I am not going to keep you for too long if it's not necessary. So if you do have any questions, please just post them in the comments on LinkedIn. I'll be able to see them here, or post them in the chat on YouTube and let me know. And if you're watching the recording, please just leave a comment and a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. I'm on 96 subscribers, 4 away from the first magical 100. I would really like to make that, yeah, we've grown very aggressively, if I can say that. Only 100 subscribers doesn't sound like much, but at the beginning of the year, we were on 19 or something. So I've really managed to grow my YouTube channel this year so far, and it feels like it's a hard thing to do in South Africa. People are not keen to just click on a subscribe button or comment even or engage or anything like that. I'll get private messages, people sending me a WhatsApp saying, yes, great show, thank you for this. This has helped me so much. So those kind of things I'm very, very appreciative of. Thank you very much for the people that do that. You're more than welcome to do that, but it's like we're very shy to do it here on social media, and that's cool. But do communicate with me, get in touch with me. You're more than welcome. I really appreciate it. And thank you for your attention. Thank you for your time. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to share knowledge and skills and ideas and things with you. And you're more than welcome to do the same. Please, I got a nice email from Neil yesterday, giving me some advice and input and say, this is a guy that you need to check out, etc. Maybe you can do some of the same things and so forth, or at least get inspiration from what it is that they're doing. And yeah, so I'm really excited about it. I'm really looking forward to the 21-day lockdown without being funny about it. I can't wait to spend some quality time on my business, some quality time with the family. And, I don't know, I feel like a weight has lifted from my shoulders because I've been running each and every single day, just trying to do things and please people and get everybody happy that I need to keep happy. I know when to not keep people happy as well. But from that point of view, it just feels like finally I can just focus on getting my ducks in a row in my business. So if you feel the same, I honestly hope that you will take some time to spend time on that. Anyway, so thank you very, very much for being here today. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, 8 a.m. South African Central Time, or Standard Time rather. And we'll see you then. So thank you very much. And I look forward to connecting with you somewhere online. Please connect with me on LinkedIn and I'll be glad to connect with you. And have a fantastic day. Stay safe. Look after yourself. Look after your family. And we'll chat tomorrow. Cheers. Thank you very much.